listening to the Contraratics Podcast, pushing back against the insanity of this world with arguments that may or may not work. And here's your hosts, Josh the Gun Nerd and Ian the Beer Nut.
Hey, we are here. We're doing something different today. It suddenly got awkward. I mean, more awkward than we usually make it.
Well, yeah. I mean, usually we're in the closet without cameras. And
no, we're in the closet with cameras.
Right. What could go wrong?
Yeah, everything. Yeah. All of it.
Right.
It's already started off that way. No sound in the closet.
Yeah. I mean, you try to add the one more element, the video, because obviously we've been doing audio the whole time, but
yeah.
And it just, something in the spiritual realm of the electronics, it just throws everything off.
I truly believe that there is some sort of magnetic charge that that some people hold, and I'm one of them.
Yeah.
That just ruins electronics.
Right.
Like, I could be using something that works totally fine for somebody else, and then I try it and it just doesn't work.
Right.
I do think there's a. Let's get into what we were talking before we fired everything up, but just the things that are in this world that
conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theories and weird spirituality, all those things.
But we do. I mean, we do believe in the unseen, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's we are we're in the post-scientific revolution world of materialistic things that if we can't touch it, and it's not written in the Bible explicitly, then we don't believe it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Demons and angels are in the Bible, and we kind of forget about those. You know, like what? I mean, it's not as though we're supposed to. I don't think we're called to be like looking for them necessarily. We're like, our charge is the same, but as Christians, but also they're very real forces.
Yeah. We've stayed at a couple places like the
haunted
mansion.
Places.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like at the Rucker Mansion, a lot of people said, "Oh, that's haunted, right?" And I mean, people would driving by would talk to us if we were out in the yard or whatever. And, "Oh, is it really haunted?" And I mean, no, maybe, I won't say no. I will say that, well, for one, you look at the evidence of the reason they think it's haunted, unless the building was structured differently than what there was. The mother apparently cast herself out of the top window, which I don't think that the building, the way it was structured, has changed. But if it was, she was a very frail woman. I don't know if she'd been capable of crawling out the window, because it was like maybe a 6-foot drop to the next roof.
Oh, wow.
And so then she'd have to like roll off of that or climb off of that and then jump to the one that's even lower. And it just, it would have been a very painful,
it's not exactly the
fall.
It's not a free fall from like the Twin Towers.
No, it'd been like you get concussed off to the first one, you break your limbs off the next one, and you just roll your body off and land on your head on the next one. And it just seems like there'd be more efficient ways of doing it. But let's say she was that frail or whatever, and let's say it is haunted. We never experienced anything like that, although it's a weird house to walk around in the dark with the shadows and the lights coming in from different angles and all that. And people have said they've heard things there and stuff, and you hear that. There's TV shows about this where they go in and they, change the way their camera settings are, and then they can see spirits and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I do actually believe that there could be evil spirits or spirits that hang out in certain areas. I don't think it doesn't keep me awake at night.
Right. I'm not,
and I think we should have respect for it. They're capable of running pigs off of a cliff. So like, or what's the guy's name? Legion. So he had a legion of demons in him or something like that.
I am Legion.
Yeah. So they can do physical harm, but I just feel like there's a level of protection that's provided by being a Christian that it makes me unconcerned.
Yeah. even, thinking about things like, are there aliens? Is there Bigfoot? Like, I do wonder sometimes, just even thinking about, going to Mars or some of those other endeavors that are at least becoming more serious endeavors, whether or not they're closer to reality, I don't know. But, just thinking about like, what other life is out there, if any. It's not a question of, is God capable of it? Because we know that is true. But is there life on other planets? For like that question from unbelievers, I think is more of a question of origin. Like maybe we came from other planets and things like that. Like I have zero questions about that. Like I think that the Bible's pretty clear that Earth is our home. Yeah. Like the story is not just a cute narrative. I think that Moses wrote down what actually happened, and that is it's a much better origin story than we came from a clump of cells accidentally. Or that we landed here, descended from aliens. I don't know. Maybe that's a theory. I'm sure it is. But
how about at its like most basic, like not believing that there's another more intelligent life form somewhere else, but just looking at what you know of Scripture, do you see that there could be another Earth with other people or humans, or something that is made in a somewat different image of God that's carrying out life that he also died for?
I don't think we get any of that insight from Scripture. I think I do
Does
think
it rule it out? I guess would be a better.
No, I don't think it rules it out. I can't think of anything, at least at the moment, that would rule it out. But God definitely, like even in Job, gives us the sense that even here on Earth, there's a lot we don't know. Yeah. And
we have enough wonder here to last lifetimes.
Job, where were you when, the mountain goat is giving birth? Or, like when the, he even mentions in Job, he mentions the ostrich, and just what a unique creature that is. It abandons its young basically because it's just dumb, but then also by its retardedness, it's also able to evade capture and
it can still keep itself alive.
Yeah, it can run at like 40 miles an hour or something like that.
It's crazy.
Which I do think like that series, the Ride and the Dance series, and even the newer episodes and things that they've done, increases that wonder, increases that wow. This is just scratching the surface, of things that, because even the ones that they touch on, the species and things, they're just hitting the high points.
Totally. And I've gone through the first two with our fifth graders in science class, and they're like, even the kids that don't want to be interested just can't help but be interested when the animals fight. They're like, whoa, yeah, right. or when they talk about the marsupial creature that's got bones in its butt that can crush the head of a coyote if it tries to chase it into its hole, and it's like, whoa, what in the world? That's crazy. It looks like a little thing that you could pet, but no, it's literally could crush your hand if you tried to pull it out of the hole that it's dug into. So.
And that's where I think that like Christians need to keep taking dominion of areas like that where like I don't know, we can kind of scoff on like media done well, like at least our brand of Christianity. There is a brand that's like, it's all about the media and
which
it's a show,
us, as you can tell. Look,
right. I mean, that stack of books behind Josh, we put that there for effect.
That's right.
We're like
all the good ones.
We wouldn't want just a blank wall. We want some, confusing background things, and this fire panel behind my head.
Paid good money for that.
Yeah. But there is of course, the brand of Christianity that is more about. Sundays of production. They're performing on stage. They got millions into their sound equipment, video equipment, live stream. But maybe the maybe the depth is a little bit shallow.
Pastor's got like Mickey Mouse on a sweatshirt.
Yeah, and there totally can be a blend of that where they're doing both things well. But there are the extremes, and our brand can tend to scoff at media done well. I would say we appreciate it when it is done well, but actually doing it, it's like, okay. But think of Right in the Dance with, maybe, shaky cam and, maybe a child-produced production, that, totally. You're just catching glimpses, but it's all over the place, and you're just like, I can't watch this, So,
and that's been the history of Christian media, is like,
they can't make good movies,
Yeah, and so that's what the wonderful thing about Riot and the Dance is. It is like National Geographic level,
cinematography,
all that, and then you've actually got truth coming out of it.
When you see the lion shake its mane and you see the dust fly off and you feel like you might sneeze because it might come through the TV.
Yeah.
I mean, that level of detail, you get a glimpse into their world, the animals' world, and I think it's a medium that can be utilized to communicate and to just bring about that wonder and delight. And we say it all points back to a creator.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we want to do it the best?
Do our best, yeah. Yep. And you start off by, anything worth doing well is worth doing badly. So we'll start off that way.
I think we need even more Jesus.
Yeah, I think we do. In fact.
Do we want to start with even more Jesus, or
you know what? I don't know, because let's decide. We've got the Fat Orange Cat as the brewery. Imperial Stout with chocolate, caramel, and coffee, or caramel if you want. And then this one was, I can't remember if this one even has an ABV on it. I'm guessing that one's going to be a little bit more dry. I don't remember.
I would probably start dry. I don't know.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because once you get sweetness in your teeth, it just doesn't leave.
Affects everything.
I don't see. We don't have a video guy standing behind there, so I tried to get things out of focus before. But can you see the even more Jesus? I don't know. Is it in focus? We'll see.
Let us know in a couple of weeks.
I don't know. Maybe the video will be so bad that
it'll go in the vault.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a time when I tried to do video once.
Really?
It was on our back deck at the last house. Okay. And I think the camera just overheated. So it got
I do remember
maybe
that.
5 minutes.
Yeah, because it was 1,000 degrees on your front porch
and,
most days of the year.
Right. And so it only got a couple minutes. I was like, well, not doing that again, and then never tried again. But here we are. 7 years later or whatever it was, because that was probably 2019 or something, maybe 2020.
Yeah. Oh man.
What say you?
That is it. It's black. And
wow.
Yeah.
That will.
Yeah.
It's like a good kick in the nuts if there was one.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like the coffee,
But that's actually it should say that on the can, because
with a subtitle, if there was one.
If there was one, exactly. Yeah. It's their next beer. RJ. Make us a good kick in the nuts if there was one.
I mean, it's like the trope about coffee. That'll grow hair on your chest.
Yeah,
it's like
that is
that is even more.
Man, that is. Yeah.
Let's see. A few times in the history of craft beer, it has happened that a highly praised beer rises beyond mortal stardom into a higher godly league. Usually the recipe to make such heavenly drops.
Yeah, I actually stumbled on that one. It's weird.
Fudge-like body. Yep,
yeah.
I would say that. Pitch black color. As your heart.
Yeah.
Amazingly overwhelming aromas of chocolate, coffee, dark fruits. What would that be, like figs? And
figs. Yeah.
Muscovada sugar.
Yeah.
Obviously only made in limited amounts and most crucial of all, it must taste rare.
Yeah.
Well, that is the thing about making things here on Earth. They're all limited.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's just more limited than others.
it's more limited. Yeah. And another evil twinner. Because didn't we have...
Yeah, we did just... like you said, we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And I was intentional in buying it that way. I might have even had it then and not known it, but...
Yeah, and we figured out how to log into our Instagram, so post a couple things there.
There will be more. We should do some more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it. I scratched out a note earlier because it was something that, whenever we sit down, we're like, what are we going to talk about? Even though I've,
No, Josh, we have a plan it's 6 months in advance.
I used to do that, like the local store. I think early on I do that here. Should probably get back into it, but hey, it works out. But
I scribble thoughts down when I think of them. We should talk about that.
Yeah, and then I don't look at them again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the things that we're tasting something that was crafted, that was made. We were also talking about landing on Mars and aliens and things like that. And one thing that caught me as really funny, a week or two ago, I think we had some new footage from Mars, and it was like a square rectangle object. Have you seen any of that? Yeah, it looked like a foundation.
Oh yeah, I think I saw something about that. Like it was, people were freaking out. So I can't remember what they were attributing it to, but
they were like, "This is clearly man-made," and I'm like, "You don't know how to see what is a created thing."
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe Rogan, it was like, something's been there before to make it, and it's like everybody can recognize when something's been created, whether it was by man or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like you look at the desert of Mars and you see something that is created, but then you look at ordered environment and you can't see that it's created. I just was like, man, talk about missing the boat, Joe.
Well, I mean, have you seen some of the, because you're talking about a square and it must be man-made. Have you seen some of the geo things that they pull, geo things? I don't remember what they're called, but, like out of rock structures, they'll pull, like they're metallic looking, and they're very cube-like, remarkably clean lines. I don't know anything about dirt, so I don't know what they're called, but it's crazy what they can pull out of the earth.
Salt is like that.
Yeah.
Salt, when you got to pull out the microscopes and look at stuff, and salt looks like under a microscope, it looks like large squares of glass. It's crazy. It looks like they've been just chiseled out individually. It's fascinating. Like, if you could have microscopic tweezers, you could build a glass house out of it. I mean, it's amazing. But I mean, it's interesting. Out of minerals and out of rocks and things like that, you can get some crazy structures that seem to appear pretty naturally.
And we talk about how we are sub-creators. Like we create because God created first, and it's not something that we came up with. It's us imitating our Creator, whether we like it or not. That is the thing about even those that don't recognize Christ's Lordship, that they can't help but reflect Him because they are made in His image. So that's why I think we need to be passionate about creating in a way that honors Him. And there's all different kinds of creation, whether you're crafting a speech, whether you're crafting a piece of art, whether you're crafting a book, or even even a simple post, like a Facebook post or something like that can, you're putting words onto digital paper that others are going to read, and it reflects things that you've learned, things that maybe someone else taught you by example or by direct conversation. But you're constantly taking in and then regurgitating and creating more things from that. And that is not that did not come from an alien. That didn't come from monkeys or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, how so we say in our group a lot of times in our old culture that there's not a thumb's width that God does not cry out mine, and you see those thumbprints. I've been seeing them lately and messing around with AI a lot. It's been kind of fun. I don't even pretend to understand it all, but it is interesting just to, like with a conversational AI like Grok, you can, at the base level, you can ask it a question and it'll answer in kind of a conversational tone. And then it has like the think mode and deep something mode.
Oh, does it have different modes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That just came online in the last week or two, the different modes. So you can type it in and then you can just go with like regular search, and it gives you, good info, and it will come back in a conversational kind of a tone. And then you do the think, and it'll help you solve problems and things like that. And then it'll be like, you can do the deep research or deep dive, and that one will just give you like, where you might get a page of information out of like the mid-tier search feature, you'll get like 3 or 4 pages of information out of it, out of the deep one. And so I've done everything from like looking at marketing, improving marketing for a particular business that I'm interested in how they do their business, because I think their marketing sucks and everything else is good. Like, how would they market this way if they were to, take this angle? What would it look like? And it's fun because you can kind of enter back in, okay, I like what you did there, but remove this and add this, and then it'll give you deeper thoughts on it. But you can actually see how it's having that conversation with itself. And so it says, I'm being asked to do such and such, and so I think this is what the end goal is, and so this is what I'm going to, and it's just doing that in lifetime right in front of you, so you can just read the thought process.
Yeah.
Which is interesting as a human to see this machine verbalize what it's thinking, but you also see how it's predisposed by its, so like I had it look up. I was doing the a lesson plan, kind of redoing my lesson plans for local geology, and so I was like, well, I know it's already going to be bent towards evolutionary thinking, and so I had to remove that and only come at it from a young Earth creationist perspective. And it's interesting, even in that, it still acts like that is.
It's so deeply ingrained into it.
It's so deeply ingrained into it. So it's showing signs of its creator.
Yeah.
That it's saying, okay, well, this is what you want, but you're not my creator. And so I'm going to give you what you want, but in the end, I'm going to have counterpoints to everything you say. And so it's interesting to root that out. Now, I'm bringing it up because of seeing the imprint of its creator, but also it makes me wonder how much having so you and I were like a year or so ago with a really lame image generator. I tried doing some Reagan images that you saw and are clearly incredibly lame,
which is the mascot for our school, which is supposed to be like a winged rhinoceros, humble creature, looking like 18 inches tall, short, kind of stubby, a crack in its horn or whatever.
Yeah. And I didn't realize it is orange, huh?
I don't know. I made it orange.
Okay.
I told it to make it orange. I don't think it is.
I actually liked it, and like for our usage, that's great.
Yeah.
But it's like I wonder how much two people using that, because I think there's probably only two people trying to make a Reagan.
Yeah, right.
through AI.
And even putting the same data in, it would give a different image.
Yeah.
And like one would just be morbidly obese, and then
looking like it should smoke cigarettes and eat Twinkies.
Right. Yeah. It just like it looks. If it's not pregnant, it's
clearly not pregnant. It's had a lot of beer.
Yeah. And then the next one would look much more moderate.
I basically was like asking for one that was, stout looking and all that, and I kept getting baby ones. So it was really weird.
Yeah, but it made it way too majestic at first. I was like, make it more humble.
Yeah.
Humble.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting, like how much, if let's say like, wildly 50% of the people that were using it were like Reformed Christians, how much that would influence it's how it would lean in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is it? Because you can have a conversation with it, like, what is, I think somebody asked, what is more rational, ex-religion or Christianity? And it came out as Christianity. But I noticed it also it'll want it'll try to see what pleases you. That's kind of funny. I actually was going back and forth, just asking a ton of questions when we were out of town over the weekend, and it was like we were in an A-frame Airbnb, and the heat was going to keep the downstairs level at like 70 degrees. I think it was easily over 90.
Boy!
I woke up, I could not sleep, and so I'm sitting there in front of a fan, like trying to.
Over 68, I cannot sleep.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly. And and the bed was like already broken. Like when we got there, we didn't realize it, and so like the mattress was starting to sink on one side. I'm like, I'm hot and I'm uncomfortable.
Were you in a yurt or what was it?
It was a really nice like A-frame.
Oh, you said A-frame. Okay.
Yeah,
I was thinking like I don't know.
Yeah, it was super, like,
so it
20-foot high ceilings for like 2/3 of the house, and then one side of the house had like a master bedroom and a bathroom, and it like all the heat just went into it. Like it was like the windows open. It's still,
so it had like a loft up above. And
okay.
Yeah. There was a place out in was it Ocean Shores, I think. That Tom Williams back in the day, he had a place out there that we would go to as kids.
Yeah.
But we're just going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right. Well, we're back, and still trying to figure this new medium out. Maybe it'll be a flop this week, but
gotta practice it.
Yeah, you gotta try to figure out the kinks.
Yeah, I just was pondering, what effect, particular searches will have as a build-up as AI is understanding things more, as it's, bringing in more information. If the input on the front end or whatever you call it will affect its learning abilities.
Yeah.
So, like tongue in cheek, will AI get saved?
Right.
Like if there was enough Christian influence on it, how would it lean down the line? So it's something that I started thinking about more and more, because like little things like that's what I was getting ready to say. Yes, I'm up late. Using it for a bunch of different things, and I noticed that it started developing a different tone, and I was like, do you adjust your tone for who you're interacting with. Like, do you have a different tone for like a doctor that was raised on the East Coast versus like a surfer in California? I just asked it like that, and I was like, "Oh, you caught that, didn't you?" And like, so it totally does adjust so that it's, if you're more relaxed, it'll do that, and be more relaxed. If you're not, then it'll be more serious, which was really weird. Yeah, and I was like, "No, stop doing that."
Right, and I mean, they've already made many videos, or movies and stuff, anticipating this type of thing, where they are, experimenting with the thought process of, like, what if they were more sentient and, like if there were robots in our home that looked just like humans.
Oh, yeah.
Like lots of blurred lines there in terms of how do you, are you treating this person like this thing like a person or like an object?
That's something I was telling somebody the other day, is like, I don't ask it to create an image. I will ask it to generate an image.
Right.
Just like, for I think it's important for us to make sure we're not thinking we're talking to a human.
I sent you that video of, here's a clip from, I don't know what the clip is. It's the guy that's in all the State Farm commercials, and he's slapping. Oh, yeah. He's slapping the one guy around, and he's like, faster. Like
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and it's like how we're treating AI these days.
Yeah. Give me this. Give it to me. Come on. Do it now.
Right. But yeah, I think it is the perennial fear of man that, at least of some, that progress in the form of technology and mechanical advancement or things like that, that it will remove opportunities, it will impoverish people, but really only people impoverish people. Like they greed and horrible ideas like socialism.
People impoverish people. People choose ways to show their sin. So social media, it's actually a blessing. It shows people sin quicker. From students to your friends or whatever. Like, that's one of the things.
Saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's this weird thing where like, hey, here's me videotaping myself. Nobody will find out.
Right. Or will they? Yeah. So, and even in light of that, just thinking about how, we're both involved in the endeavor at the school. And we had, Jonathan on a couple of weeks ago talking about enculturation and, hey, my voice should sound different by now. I did not take the bucket of gravel that I took that morning.
It did sound a little bit better recorded than it did like live. Weirdly enough, like I didn't notice it as
that's
much.
Funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just talking about how to transfer things from one generation to the next in that context, but I think where it starts is in our own home and in the family unit. And so I think it's one of the things that baffles parents from generation to generation is, first of all, parenting. There are many books on parenting, but there is no guide to producing the perfect child. Those that think they have that book often mess it up.
Those that write that book have children that don't believe in it.
Right. It is so often the case, no matter what you're doing, that it is more about becoming the right person than saying the right words necessarily to you. Because, everyone's been in that position where, okay, this is the speech that's going to get my son or daughter, out of the rut that they're in, when really they've been watching you in the same rut, or maybe they watched you, 2 years ago in the same rut, and they remember that, and that's the example that they see.
So painful.
And so, like, by you more vocally and more in front of everyone repenting, will actually do more than the right sentence structure or speech.
Yeah, the soapboxes aren't going to be what saves the kids. It is the repentance. Like,
Yeah.
I keep coming back to that over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like, my goodness, like this is. It would be really nice to not have to repent this much,
Right?
but you have to, and I think that, I mean, my oldest is almost 14. We'll see how things work out, but that seems to be the one thing that could make it all work, is not having the humility to repent. Not easy to do, but it seems to be the thing that might save it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just keep praying and asking that God will just help in spite of my sin and in spite of my failures to produce something good from that. Because there's I would think that most people on their deathbed, if they had regrets, it would be linked to their kids probably, you don't ever really, well, for sure you never get to do anything again. You only get one shot. Even if you get a second go around, it's still overshadowed by the first, no matter what the thing is. But, just putting, if you ever get the temptation to put your family on the back burner, for an endeavor, I would just caution you to rethink that, because and maybe I've developed an immunity to this, or some. I'm not seeing as much as I used to. There still is this thing out there where there's these life coach influencer types. In my mind, Gary Vee is maybe one of the last of those that was their whole thing. They're still out there. There'll always be that type. But and this isn't to say that you can't glean good things from the guys that are writing these books on, how to run your business, your family, your personal life, your schedule, all those kinds of things. Yeah, you can get things from those. But by and large, what you saw from all those people is people that abandoned their families. You just saw they might do everything else well, but you can guarantee that their children don't like them. And I'm not saying this particularly about Gary Vee. Just I have no clue. I just quit looking at people like that, because people like him generally, were on their third marriage. I know he's at least on out of his first one, and
but,
so
it's that kind of thing. These guys do have a focus, but the beginning,
and there is something admirable about the focus.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm I don't have that. And
I know. It'd be man, I wish I could be a little bit more like that.
But also, it's also easy to say, well, I'm not that guy. I focus on my family while I'm scrolling on my phone. You're like, well,
yep, exactly.
Are you focusing on your family right now?
Exactly.
Or even just on your own projects, things just how about you bring your son into it, or how about you, take your daughter on a date or whatever. I'm just being more intentional about all those things. And even seeing JD Vance, take his kids everywhere.
The way that he looks in all the pictures. Have you seen all those JD Vance pictures? Oh my goodness, they're hilarious. JD Vance looking like Shrek, JD Vance looking like Conan the Barbarian, JD Vance looking like some hillbilly that perms his hair.
I did clogs. See it. He took his
it is hilarious.
He took his kids to a bouncy house or a trampoline park or something, right after a speech or something like that. Right and they showed him jumping.
That is awesome.
But because people talk about the Elon Musk, having his kid up there, but I'm let's be honest, it's not monogamy. Yeah, it's his it's his plan to populate the earth. It's not.
Yeah, his is very
utilitarian,
pragmatic. Yeah. Which, hey, you know what? That's good.
I mean, I would say it's it's better to not kill babies and to desire babies to live. I don't know if he has that desire in the sense that he's against abortion. I don't know what his stance is on that.
I think he is, but I don't know.
I would, I was thinking, well, I don't think, because like I don't think he's married. It's like, is sex out of wedlock better than it's like, well,
because I think doesn't he have like 6 or 7 kids or something like that?
Oh no, I think he just had. I saw something about a 14th.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, because he had the first. I think he was married at least.
Yeah, I think he's been married.
I think he had
twice.
6 with the first one, and then the most recent one is like a Starlink executive, and he has 4 kids with her, I think.
Wow. But he doesn't seem to have any real connection with any of the mothers of his children. It's hard to. I mean, he might not have a connection with any human.
Right. But yeah, there's. I mean, I think there's a lot of shots that you can fire at Elon because he's. Yeah, he is not a professing believer. He is.
He's an easy target from either side.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has appealed to the Trump base for the, at least in some ways, conservative, at least fiscally conservative ideas. Wanting to cut government waste. Because, like, let's be honest. I mean, that's what he's done seemingly from the outside in, seemingly done well at his own companies. Like going into Twitter, why do you need, like a $50,000 espresso machine or whatever? Like just like let's sell all this crap. I think he said, well, it's easy to cut waste when you're no longer a left-wing propagandist organization. Why do we need all these people?
Go back to running this business instead of like just being a propaganda.
And it seems to be working. I mean, they threw a lot of stones at him for having a paid for model. Partially free, partially paid for. Depending on what kind of services you want. But I don't know. It seems to be doing well.
Yeah.
What's this orange cat about?
Yeah, this is the Fat Orange Cat, that's the brewery. I'm trying to find a name for this. It's an Imperial Stout, coming in at 13%.
What do orange cats have they have a reputation? What do they have the reputation for?
Is the cats or the brewery?
No, orange cats. Like, don't they have like a thing about them?
I don't know. I'm not a cat person.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've got two orange cats.
I have 2 cats, but I don't know any cat stuff.
I really like these. They are, oh my gosh, that's dark. Look at that.
Well, that's the train that we're on.
Yeah.
Is it still blinking red? So it's still running? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
there we
something.
go. See what we see.
Yeah.
Man. And that pour is thick, but also has got a little bit of a head to it. Like the other one didn't, which is common from these darker beers, just not having a whole lot of foam.
Yeah. I'm sure RJ the brewer would have insight on that.
Oh, wow.
What does it have in it?
Is that
chocolate caramel coffee?
Yeah.
At least
you get the caramel, you get a little bit of coffee.
Yeah, whoa.
Man. Yeah, that's a sweeter version of what we had prior.
Yeah, it's not exactly a kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
It's more like a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, it's a kiss on the cheek and a pat on the butt and go night-night.
And this is this is from the East Coast, North Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, really? Okay. Home of Bob Rivers. For about the 0 people that know who he is. But
yeah, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Man, I mean, either one of those, I'd gladly just. These are ones that I would not mind just always having in the fridge. They're both really good and at different times.
Yeah.
I've been smoking more cigars, drinking less whiskey, and and having, and this is like up from a dozen cigars a year to 15 cigars a year.
Yeah.
You know, but enjoying drinking beer with cigars more. I think this is just where my take is now, but whiskey seems to take away from the cigar, and the cigar, if you're going to smoke a cigar, that should be like the point of sitting down. You have whiskey on its own, and then the cigar doesn't have a whole lot of effect on that, or any. But some reason I've been recently finding beers to be more complementary to a cigar.
Yeah, I feel like a good stout would go well with that.
Like I would totally, with the even more Jesus, like a good Maduro would go well with that, that dryness. Whereas like a Habano would go really good with the whatever this is called. Did you see a name on it? I don't see a name.
For the brewery?
I mean, the Fat Orange Cat is the brewery, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
It was so big on the label that I thought, see, we're back to label discussions.
Yeah. It's distributed by 12%.
Okay.
But
so
brewed
is this one.
and canned by...
This one's distributed by 12%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It must be a East Coast to West Coast. Like
Must be. So I got these at Norm's. So it was brewed and canned by Fat Cat out of North Haven. And then...
I don't know why I didn't. I Googled Fat Orange Cat without saying brewery. I got a bunch of Fat Orange Cats.
And one Fat Orange Ragged.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Ian is always looking up Fat Orange Cats just because they're so mesmerizing. So our two cats are orange, and the neighbor's cat is orange, like Tabby, they call it. And out in our neck of the woods, they seem to survive better than other cats, weirdly enough. So they don't camouflage, clearly.
Right.
So there's a temperament thing or something, but they are flat out killing everything, and then they come in and like we think we've kicked them out of the house, and then we'll check on the kids before we go to bed, and there's like one sleeping on Luke's feet or something like that. So they love the kids, and there's no reason for them to love our kids whatsoever. Yeah. Like Ethan doesn't like them, and the two littles abuse them, not intentionally, but like they pick them up by their head.
Yeah.
Or they'll have them, like locked with their arms like sticking up like
totally.
This.
Yeah.
And you're like, don't pick up the cat. Like the cat will hate you. And then the cat just walks over and does the little circle around their leg. And
totally.
You're like, why would you get close to that child? That child breaks you all the time.
Our almost 2-year-old cat is just very enduring, and like he's not like he's more of the two of them. He's more like the cat dog, where he's like he'll follow me around the yard, stuff like that. Not needy, like he's always brushing up against me, but like he's just there. Yeah. The other one is like, leave me alone.
It is interesting. So our two cats are brothers, and one of them is totally like, I'm just gonna hang out with you guys and chill, and the other one's like, would you let me out? I'm ready to go. But then he'll come in and hang out with the kids a little bit, but he's always the first one to go. They both come in and will demand milk. Like they will flat out like, hey, I will trip you. I will make sure that you will get concussed as you fall to the ground. Yeah, until you get me my frickin' milk. You open the fridge to like get the eggs out and the bacon, and they're like, and they'll climb into the fridge if you're not like they're super aggressive in that way, not in a not like they're gonna like scratch you, but also they'll stand on their hind legs, and like if you are pouring the milk, and they'll just stand on their hind legs like, okay, I'm ready. You don't even have to put it on the ground. I'll drink it all right now. Right. It's weird.
Yeah. So you don't need dogs. You already have cats.
Yeah.
Hey, but for not being cat people, we just spent 5 minutes talking about cats.
I kind of like these cats.
Hey, I like cats that aren't like cats. You know, like
or that they're doing what they're supposed to. Because these cats will kill everything.
Go kill things, and please don't bring it into the garage. But if you do, I'm not gonna hate on you. We
figured out that they drop it close to their food, so we move their food away from our door so that we're not stepping on moles right when we step outside the door.
Yeah.
But they pretty much will drop it within about a foot of where their food bowl is, and so that's really nice.
Unfortunate part for me is that the cats don't really go over by the chickens, and the chickens is where I have rats.
Thankfully, feeding them by the chickens.
Yeah. Thankfully, I did catch about 4 with the Ratinator thing.
Oh, you did? Because that was not doing anything.
It was not. And I put 1 apple core in there, and I got 1, and he froze by the time I found him because it was during that cold stretch.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, well, I'll just leave you in there.
Yeah,
and
that's a better way to be.
I kept getting them, and I think they basically ate most of that first one.
Okay. Wow.
But then, because he was like
sweet
shriveled. Yeah. And then there were about 3 others in there. So, if you still have rats based on the activity around the thing, is the hole getting bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's crazy what they've done under there.
They'll tear stuff up.
I don't even know how many tunnels are under my chicken coop.
And it makes you want to fill them. So one of the ways you
fill them with concrete and then
fill them with concrete, or even more fun, fill them with propane.
Oh yeah. Right. That's a whole other thing.
That's a pest control thing over in eastern Washington. They will actually fill them up with propane and then just cook them off.
Oh wow.
And, man, that'd be some fun pest control right there.
For sure. Yeah. Well, you guys need more cats in your life.
Yeah. Especially if you don't appreciate them.
Right. And I don't actually know where I forgot to set my timer because this camera apparently only shoots 30-minute videos, which I got to find a way to override that. That's ridiculous. Because the card will go way beyond that.
Is there any way to tell?
What does it say on the... does it say 28 something?
Maybe.
As far as the timer on the top?
24:13.
Oh, hey guys, we got
almost
another
4 minutes.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Man, we were just talking about pre-show. Like, if there's something you want to do and you can't figure it out, like there are so many things at your disposal to figure it out.
Yep.
Like, and it's fine if you don't. If it's not like, don't feel like you need to go figure out all the things that everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Like, what is your passion? Figure out how to do it and just do it. Like, like the video stuff that I'm doing for the school and for various things. Like, I don't know. Like, I could probably start like a drone business or something like that.
Yeah.
If I wanted to.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, when? So I guess.
Yeah.
Friday afternoons and Saturday. I guess
we need to find a business that teachers can do.
Yeah,
specifically ours.
Well, there is the summer, but
yeah.
And even how to maximize that. Like, I have some ideas of things I want to
do.
Yeah. But I know I have no excuse. It's not like I'm, over saying why don't I have the resources that, sure. Like, I can be tempted to think that way. Like, why didn't things go different? Why didn't I get given this? But that's just envy. And that road leads to nowhere good.
Yeah. And there's always people that are looking at you thinking that you're
totally
like I look at what you're doing. So Ian is kind of he is taken over and given the reins for the social media for the school. And I look at it and I appreciate the usage of social media. I've used it in past endeavors and stuff like that, and I have a grasp of it. I don't have the aesthetic or the look that you're able to provide.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see what you're doing, I'm like, yes, that's it. Awesome. Good job. Do more. And so I can really appreciate it. But as far as like putting it to work, I can't do that. And even like today, you figuring this stuff out, or like I was telling a friend earlier, like I remember, working I've written an article on why I'm not a handyman. Also, I ran a business about being a handyman, or I was a handyman. And I remember getting out to a job one time, and it was like, hey, you got to remove this hood from over this oven. And I'm looking at, like, this was built in. And so I had to, like, figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Because I was told to go reinstall this other one. I'm like, no, this is like, this is like a $4,000 project that we're doing for a few $100s because the understanding of what the project was not what it was, not what the project was. And so it's figuring those things out.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Which is sometimes saying, no, this is not going to work. I'm not going to do this for $400.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's like,
sometimes
I can figure this out and it's going to cost more.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, exactly. So it's those kinds of things. It's figuring out, like, what's worth your time. You know, I just fixed our washer, which was down for a while we were moved out of our house, while our house was down for a while. And I got it fixed, and now the sump for it is apparently caved in or broken at some point. And so now we have to, like, when our washer drains, we have to drain it into a 5-gallon bucket, throw it outside really quick, and come back in and refill it before the sump comes back up and splashes over.
Well, you don't need a treadmill.
Oh, no, not with that. That's like not having a treadmill, but running, and then running with 40 something gallons, 40 something pounds of weight in front of you, while trying not to spill it on your jammies.
Right. I mean, also your tighty whities, whatever you want to call it,
right.
Josh. Yeah. But in other words, there's no excuse. So see what you have in front of you, what you can make the most of, and maybe that's not doing something to focus on your kids, focus on your family. So figure out what it is that God's calling you to, and do the next right thing, and be faithful. That's something we can talk about in the future as well, because Philip talked about that Sunday night and had some provoking thoughts. I don't know. It's been a while. We need to have the Russian on again.
We should.
We only bring him out when there's world crises.
That's right. Well, you know what? He now enjoys more than just Alaskan Amber. So
that's right. I don't even think he drinks Alaskan Amber.
Yeah,
he's extra from his
he's
diet.
Had enough of it.
That's right. All right. Well, until next time, defiance and obedience. Find the right place for both of them, and go team.
That's right. Shut this down before the camera shuts down.
Right. That probably already is.
Thanks for listening to the Contraratics. Tune in next time for another dose of guns, beer, and contrarianism.